My last video on the topic of baby Jesus inspired some discussion about the circumcision of Jesus. And in fact, the Bible does specifically spell out that this circumcision occurred. Would everyone please turn to Luke chapter 2, verse 21. And when 8 days were accomplished for the circumcising of the child, his name was called Jesus. So apparently the circumcision did in fact occur. And for those of you who are wondering, yes, there is not just one holy artifact. There are apparently a number of holy artifacts, all of which claim to be the original foreskin of Jesus. I've got a Wikipedia article linked to the side if anyone would like to know more about that. And apparently there are miraculous powers ascribed to it. You know, just when I think that Christian history can't possibly be any more bizarre, it always surprises me. And I suppose it shouldn't. Because, after all, Yahweh did feel very strongly about the whole issue of circumcision. Would everyone please turn to Exodus chapter 4, verse 24 to 26. And it came to pass by way of the inn that the Lord met him, that is Moses, and sought to kill him. Then Zipporah, Moses' wife, took a sharp stone and cut off the foreskin of her son and cast it at his feet, and said, Surely a bloody husband thou art to me. So he, apparently the Lord, let him go, and then she said, A bloody husband thou art because of the circumcision. This was one of the verses of the Bible where I had to read that a number of times to be absolutely sure that I'd read what I just thought I'd read. Apparently, Yahweh tries to kill Moses. How exactly that happens, I'm not really sure. Although the Reverend Brendan Powell Smith does have a Lego version of that. If you're having trouble envisioning that, I have a link off to the side there. But apparently there's an attempt here by Yahweh to try to kill Moses. And somehow Moses' wife telepathically knew that what was upsetting Yahweh so much was the fact that her son wasn't circumcised. And apparently had enough time to perform this impromptu circumcision while the scuffling between Moses and Yahweh was going on. And that appeased Yahweh, and Yahweh went away. Okay, the only thing I can really be certain about from these verses is that Yahweh feels very strongly about the issue of circumcision, to the point where he was willing to kill off one of his most sacred prophets just because his son wasn't circumcised. He had just neglected that part of Hebrew law. So Yahweh feels very strongly about the issue of circumcision, which really begs the question, why did Yahweh create foreskins in the first place? I mean, why not design the male body as it's supposed to be in the first place without the need for surgery, so that it just comes out that way, right? The only answer I can think of is, the old standby for Christians, the devil did it. Okay, so when the devil brought sin and imperfection into the world, apparently the devil modified male genitalia in a way that would be offensive to Yahweh, and so now surgery was required. All right, but assuming that, and I'm playing Christian's advocate here, coming up with that explanation in the first place, that also begs the question, if Jesus was born without sin, then shouldn't Jesus' body have come out exactly the way it's supposed to be, without a foreskin, without the need for circumcision that was detailed in Luke? I mean, Jesus was born without sin, so the devil's modification to Jesus' body shouldn't have been there. And I guess that would have been regarded as a great miracle along the lines of a virgin birth. And I mean, there would be proof of that. I mean, people could actually see that Jesus was born without a foreskin, and wouldn't that have been quite amazing for considering Hebrew law? But anyway, just something I kind of wondered about from the Bible. As always, if any Christians have any explanations for that one, really appreciate any feedback here. As always, may God's gift of reason light our way.